So, this is the second time I'm recording this, because my mic wasn't being picked up by OBS. Bruh. And also, I learned that that 15-minute recording session was taking up like 20 gigabytes! Huh? I'm gonna kill. Are you looking for the goat of mousepads? Are you an enthusiast? If you're just looking for the best mousepad possible, well, I got you covered. Because this mousepad might just be it. The Artisan Hien XL Soft. So, I guess we can start off first with the overall durability. This mousepad had about a 2-week break-in period, where it was pretty damn quick, and it took a long time to get used to. And after that, it slowed down a bit, and it was a lot more manageable, especially for me who came from a control pad such as the Razer Gigantis and other off-name slow mud pads. So this was my first, like, real good mousepad. But overall, having this mousepad for 2 years, it is held up. It is, after that first 2 weeks, it just stayed completely consistent ever since. Like, yeah, it's a bit slower, like in the middle spot right here where I mainly use the pad, but that spot has stayed consistent. It has been pretty much the same over the last, like, year and a half. The only wear spots is, one is where I rest either my palm, right here, and there's a little spot right here, which I guess is like where my thumb or like part of my hand would also rest sometimes. And also right at the bottom of the pad right here where the stitching kind of came apart from my arm resting from it. I do wear a sleeve, but that didn't stop this from happening because I guess I'm a bozo and put too much pressure onto the mousepad. Good to know. But everywhere else is literally perfect. Every corner is perfect. I can't show that side. Yeah, you can see right here as the example, it is perfect. No fraying, no nothing. And another really nice thing, especially if you don't use a sleeve, is that the pad itself is a little bit higher placed than the stitching. So, if you are resting your hand, your arm doesn't get caught while going up and down on the pad, which is really nice. Another thing we can talk about is how much does the pad move when playing. For me, it moves a bit, but that's also because I'm using a desk mat over top, right here. This is my old Razer Gigantis that I used to use until I bought a new mousepad and just put it on top. It's easier. But the solid rubber base is really good. It does stay grounded really well, but I can't comment on like how well it does on just like wood, like on a wood desk like this, since I've never tried it. But the only way to move this, let's find out real quick how much it takes to move this. It moved like absolutely nothing. It moved 2 millimeters on the left here. Yeah, okay. If you're putting that much pressure on your mousepad, there's something wrong. This mousepad does not move at all. It's got a really solid base, and the only way it is moving is if you put like a ton of pressure onto the pad. That is the only way it's ever going to move. So one thing I do want to comment on is that since this is a faster pad, is that it takes a bit more time to get used to. For me, it took about 3 weeks to get used to it, and yeah, I did go through like the about 2 to 3 day honeymoon period on this pad where I was, hitting every shot. I was so flicky. I was, perfect aim, and then it fell off, and then I was really inconsistent. One day it would be great, and then the other day would be absolutely horrible, and I wanted to throw this pad out the window. But yeah, that happened for about 3-4 weeks before finally kind of just getting consistent with it. But that is one thing, especially if you're coming from like a control pad or an in-between pad, is that this pad is a bit faster. It's a hybrid speed pad, if you will. For me, personally, I'm a bit too inconsistent on this pad, and it doesn't really fit my aiming style. I'm a bit more slow, I'm a bit more methodical with my aiming. Especially since I play Siege, and that was my first real FPS that I played. Yeah, get owned Fortnite. The Artisan Zero would probably work better for me, which is, if you don't know, the slowest pad that they offer, which is not even considered a mud pad. It's considered like just a bit slower of a pad, which might fit me better. I will try that later, and I'll definitely give you a review on that, and I'll probably compare these two. Especially since how consistent I was on the Razer Gigantis. This was probably like the pad I performed best on, surprisingly. So I'm curious to see how I do on an Artisan Zero. Should you buy this mousepad? Short answer, yes. This is probably like, if you're not going to buy this pad specifically, Artisan is probably like the best brand of mousepad you could buy. You're just getting the most premium experience ever The only downside is the shipping. The shipping for this pad, since it's coming from Japan, is crazy expensive. Pretty much like 40% of the cost of this mouse pad is shipping, which kind of sucks and gatekeeps a lot of this pad to people in the US and Canada like myself. One thing they do offer though is in their shipping, in the package you get, you can buy 2 mouse pads, which means you can pay $50 of shipping and buy 2 pads, which is 100% worth it, especially for the quality of pad you're getting. And especially since the yen right now is a little weak, these things you can buy for like, I think like $40, $50, which is 100% worth it. But it just sucks because then it ends up going to $80 for shipping. This is about USD, may I add. So this is about like $120 in Canadian dollars for me. Another option I would look at if you don't want to pay the shipping for this mouse pad is look at the Lethal Gaming Gear lineup. They are pretty much the same pads, but made by a company in the US, making it so the shipping's only like $20, depending on where you are. And they're pretty much like, they get you 99% of what this pad offers. Yeah, it may not be the exact same quality, but it's so close that like anyone that just plays games day to day, it doesn't matter to them. But as I stated earlier, for me personally, I'm probably going to buy an Artisan Zero next in the coming months since this thing is getting a little old. So yeah, and I will 100% make a comparison video on these two. But yeah, this is a great pad if you're an enthusiast. A great pad even if you're not, you just want the best mouse pad possible. Look into the other stuff from Artisan if you aren't looking for a hybrid speed pad. One thing I forgot to mention was the differences between soft, X Soft, and mid in any Artisan pad. Mainly in the Hien, the differences between X Soft and soft is that X Soft, it's a bit more plushy and you can squish down a little bit more, which means you can add more stopping power when flicking your mouse. So if you go to flick, you can dig your palm or the mouse into the mouse pad more, and that gives you a bit more stopping power. So like something like the Raiden or the Hien, if you want a bit more stopping power, you could get the X Soft. Or if you want just a really smooth experience, you could get the mid, but that one's a bit harder of a pad. I've heard some people don't really like it. So the soft is a good middle ground between those two, and that's the reason why I got that one. But yeah, I think that's everything. I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.